OBANAI is a very harsh and strict individual who shows no concern for those who do not abide by the rules of the Demon Slayer Corps. His expectations for his fellow Demon Slayers are quite unrealistic, as he was seen berating Tengen Yuzui for suffering heavy wounds against the weakest upper rank and telling him to fight to the death when Tengen insists on retiring. Tengen's retirement also highlights OBANAI's devotion to the future of the Demon Slayer Corps, often at others' expense, such as when he ties up lower-ranked Demon Slayers and uses them as obstacles during Hashira training for relatively petty reasons. He also sees the newer Demon Slayer recruits as weak and incapable of improvement, expressing extreme surprise when Tengen informs him that Tanjiro Kamado survived the battle with Daki and Jutaro. OBANAI has a rather prominent habit of pointing at people with his finger in an accusatory manner while berating them or talking badly about someone. Despite his merciless personality, there are two people he cares deeply about, Kaguya Ubuyashiki and Mitsuri Kanroji. He has a crush on Mitsuri, as he often lets his feelings shine through by sharing meals with her and giving gifts, such as the signature green socks she wears with her uniform. OBANAI seems to let his overprotectiveness of Mitsuri show at times, such as when he threatens Tanjiro for growing too close to her. It was implied that he has a crush on Mitsuri because of her cheerful personality that didn't let any of the hellish training she had gone through to radiate in the slightest. Talking with her also made him forget all the strife and conflict he had encountered during his past and made him feel as if he was an ordinary young man. Like all the Hashira, OBANAI has a great deal of respect for Kaguya too. OBANAI is also noted to possess an immense sense of self-loathing due to the fact that he was born to a selfish and immoral clan who would mercilessly sacrifice even newborn children to a demon for their own monetary gain. OBANAI considers himself and his family so tainted that years after they were killed, he still felt as if his family were digging their nails into his skin to make sure he couldn't go anywhere. He even goes as far as to believe that, in order for him to ever be worthy of Mitsuri, he would first have to die and cleanse himself of his corrupted blood before confessing his feelings to her. His upbringing also seems to be the cause of his gynophobia since he was born into a family of only women who treated him like a tool. The trauma of his past can also be seen in the form of his facial bandages that he dons to cover the terrible scars he received, never removing it until the final battle. In addition to the horrible treatment he received from his family, of being treated as a mere tool and sacrifice, OBANAI was deeply affected by the words of resentment and hatred from his only surviving cousin when she said that the entire family died simply because he ran away. Although he recognized that her grudge and words were illogical, he chose to accept that he was at fault and even considered himself as corrupt as his family was, believing he was not worthy to live a normal life. This shows that despite the various unpleasant traits of his personality, OBANAI actually has a conscience and morals, unlike his family. OBANAI has an incredible sense of determination, continuing the fight against Muzan even after he is completely blinded and covered in wounds. His ability to protect Ju and Tanjiro throughout the fight, as well as thanking Tanjiro for helping him and later even took a blow for him, proves that OBANAI was able to drop his initial grudges and become more open with people he was rude to prior. As a Hashira of the Demon Slayer Corps, OBANAI is a very powerful and skilled combatant. It was revealed that he was more or less blind in his right eye, meaning he ascended to the highest rank in the Demon Slayer Corps with one functioning eye. This, in addition to his small physique and lesser physical strength when compared to his peers, makes it especially impressive that OBANAI managed to attain the title of Hashira. During the events in the Infinity Castle, OBANAI was able to quickly decapitate numerous demons on par with lower ranks with ease and hold back the newly appointed upper rank 4, Neikime. When engaging in battle with the Demon King, Muzan Kibutsuji, OBANAI was able to land a great deal of hits on him, slashing off limbs and nearly beheading him over the course of the battle. After OBANAI, Ju, Sanemi, Gyomii, Zenitsu, Inosuke and Kaneo were heavily injured by Muzan's attack, OBANAI was the first to regain consciousness and aid Tanjiro despite having his eyes clawed out during the attack earlier. While it should be noted that Muzan was severely weakened by the drugs in his body, he and Tanjiro nonetheless managed to fend off and push the Demon King into a corner by themselves, displaying incredible stamina and endurance. After getting directly hit by Muzan's shockwave energy blast technique, he still took a hit for Tanjiro when Muzan was about to bite his head off. When the Demon King swelled his flesh and exponentially grew in size, OBANAI still possessed enough stamina to unleash one technique that aided in slowing Muzan down. Even though OBANAI lost his life at the end of the battle, he was undoubtedly one of the biggest contributors in subduing the Demon King till the arrival of dawn. Kaburamaru, OBANAI, having always been partially blind in his right eye, developed a combat technique utilizing his snake Kaburamaru. Kaburamaru possesses a unique ability which allows him to read and predict a target's attacks and then relay that information to OBANAI. The full extent of this technique is demonstrated when OBANAI is completely blinded by Muzan, but he is still able to continue fighting effectively. Kaburamaru also seems to be capable of understanding human speech and emotions, as he understood Tanjiro's instructions to grab Yashiro's paper talisman and later shed tears when watching OBANAI and Mitsuri succumb to their wounds. Kaneo herself stated that Kaburamaru was exceptionally clever. Demon Slayer Mark. During the final battle against Muzan, OBANAI awakened his own Demon Slayer Mark, which took the form of 3 snake-like tattoo patterns with large dots, stretching from his left arm to the left side of his chest. The mark greatly enhanced all of OBANAI's physical abilities, as seen where he was able to land powerful sword slashes against Muzan, swiftly dodge and maneuver himself to avoid all of his immensely fast attacks, and increase his physical stamina and durability, allowing him to fight despite being severely injured. Bright Red Nichiren Sword. After remembering how Muichiro Takedo turned his blade red, OBANAI puts all of his strength into gripping his blade, turning it bright red. However, he put too much strength into his grip and almost fainted due to the lack of oxygen. Turning his Nichiren sword bright red proved to be extremely effective against Muzan, allowing his attacks to hamper his immediate regeneration and giving the other demon slayers a chance to turn their blades bright red as well to increase their offensive output. Transparent World. Though briefly, OBANAI managed to access the transparent world and see Muzan's 12 vital organs, 7 hearts and 5 brains, for a split second after Gyomai instructed everyone to attempt to do so. Enhanced Strength. Despite his short stature and lesser physical strength due to his upbringing, especially when compared to the other Hashira, OBANAI still possesses a great amount of physical strength, as shown when he pins Tanjiro to the ground with so much force that he couldn't move or breathe. During Hashira training, he was seen being able to parry and attack the larger and more physically imposing Sanemi during their sparring session, causing them both to surmise that they were seemingly neck and neck. He was also able to slash the body of Muzan Kibutsuji on a multitude of occasions. OBANAI was also one of the only demon slayers able to turn his Nichiren sword bright red through sheer grip strength, the other being Muichiro Takedo. Immense speed and reflexes. As a Hashira, OBANAI possesses superhuman levels of speed and reflexes. When Tanjiro was about to get hit by what would likely have been a fatal strike from Muzan, OBANAI managed to jump in and save him in time. He was capable of keeping up with Muzan Kibutsuji's whip attacks for an extended period of time without the boost granted by the Demon Slayer mark and still managed to land many hits on the Demon King. After awakening the mark, OBANAI was fast enough to slice off both of Muzan's limbs. Even when completely blinded, OBANAI was able to evade many of Muzan's attacks, push him into a corner, and caught up to him and pierced his body when he was fleeing, albeit Muzan was severely weakened then. Immense stamina and endurance. OBANAI has displayed his phenomenal stamina and endurance on multiple occasions during the events within the Infinity Castle and final battle. OBANAI, along with Mitsuri, were able to play an exhausting game of cat and mouse with upper rank 4, Neikime for an extended period of time and still had enough energy to arrive to Tanjiro's and Ju's aid. At the surface, OBANAI and his allies were able to stall Muzan for around half an hour, sustaining injuries from poison and his flesh whips, before the Demon King overpowered them with a sudden and devastating attack. After Muzan incapacitated him, Ju, Sanemi, Gyomai, Zenitsu, Inosuke and Kaneo, OBANAI was the first to recover and aid Tanjiro, doing so before all his other fellow Hashira could regather themselves and even after sustaining severe facial wounds that left him blind. Afterwards, OBANAI, with Tanjiro's aid, managed to drive Muzan into a corner and fend him off by themselves for another 35 minutes before being hit by Muzan's shockwave energy blast technique, which greatly damaged his nervous system. Despite this, OBANAI remained steadfast and took a blow for Tanjiro when Muzan was poised to bite his head off. Nearing the end of the battle, OBANAI still had enough energy to muster a technique. As such, out of all the demon slayers that fought in that battle, OBANAI lasted arguably the longest. Master Swordsman. As a Hashira of the Demon Slayer Corps, OBANAI was one of the most powerful and skilled swordsmen in the entire organization. This was shown during Hashira training, where he was entrusted to teach all the other demon slayers about sword-wielding techniques. OBANAI makes use of a unique swordsmanship style that utilizes slithering motions to twist and bend his sword and attack in impossible ways, allowing him to weave through narrow openings with ease despite wielding a standard wooden sword. His swordsmanship prowess allowed him to slaughter hordes of demons with ease and to keep up with the Demon King himself, Muzan Kibutsuji. OBANAI carries around a heavily modified Nichiren katana similar in appearance to an Indonesian kris sword, with the blade's shape modeled into waves resembling a slithering snake. It is lavender in color. His katana's tsuba has a gold circular shape engraved with two snakes connected by several plant-like patterns. His handle is light blue and decorated with a twisting wrap of magenta cord. As a hashira, the words Destroyer of Demons are engraved on the side of the blade. OBANAI also carries along a special scabbard made of leather held together by a weak magnetic pull that opens up whenever he uses his katana. It is designed so that OBANAI unsheathes his sword vertically instead of horizontally. OBANAI's surname contains the Manyogana for the Mora, I, and the Kuinyomi reading the kanji for dark, sinister. The reason it's Guro instead of Kuro is due to Rendaku pronunciation. His given name contains the Kuinyomi of the kanji for small and the Onyomi reading for banana and within. After OBANAI's death, Kaburamaru is entrusted to Kaneo Tsuyuri by Sanemi Shinazugawa. OBANAI is not very strong in terms of physical strength as he is listed, a little weak, by Koyoharu Gotoge when asked about arm wrestling strength between the hashira. OBANAI's rankings in the popularity polls are as follows. OBANAI ranked 26th in the first popularity poll with 90 votes. OBANAI ranked 8th in the second popularity poll with 6,204 votes. OBANAI's Japanese voice actor, Kenichi Suzumura, is married to Tamayo's voice actress, Maya Sakamoto. OBANAI's slit mouth is similar to that of the Japanese Onryo, Kukase Kana. OBANAI makes a cameo appearance alongside Mitsuri Kenroji in Chapter 137 of Tanakaku Kawaii. OBANAI's sword was made by Gentetsu, son of Tekken Tekikawahara. OBANAI viewed the other hashira as follows. She's hardworking and patient. Insect hashira. We discussed our backgrounds once. He's uncomfortable with his lineage and regrets harming his siblings, but he never looks dour, and I respect that. Sound hashira. She's the best. Very cute. But I worry about her inability to speak rationally. Love hashira. He's incredibly strong and dependable. Stone hashira. I don't like him very much. He always looks miserable, which irks me. Water hashira. He's talkative, which is alright. He's got a good personality. Flame hashira. He's young, so I hope he doesn't get himself killed. We talk sometimes. Mist hashira. We get along. He's a friend. Wind hashira. OBANAI's level of openness is ranked as 60%. Due to his upbringing, OBANAI developed a fear and hatred towards women. Interacting with female demon slayers did not help, as their attempts to mask their past traumas made him uncomfortable. Mitsuri was implied to be the first and only woman he found to be beautiful. Although OBANAI doesn't like to eat much, seeing it as too much trouble, seeing Mitsuri happily eat her food made him work up his appetite and eat more than usual. OBANAI's meeting with Mitsuri was love at first sight. He was so dumbfounded that Kaburamaru also started to panic, which for some reason led to the snake biting him. In Kimetsu Academy, OBANAI is a chemistry teacher. He has an allergy to women and always wears a mask. It is said that he keeps a snake around him in order to avoid contact with women. He often goes to Aoi's restaurant, but only ever orders tea. He would frequently ask if the girl with the braids is coming over. When students fail tests, they are crucified to a post and shot at with bottle rockets. Thank you for watching my humble video. If you liked it, subscribe, like and share the video. See you next time.